What's up, everybody? This is AJ Kirsch, and you're listening to Wrestling POV Global.
Welcome, fans, to another edition of WPOV Global, featuring your lovely hosts, the gentleman, Elio Canella, the legend, T. James Logan, and I'm your host, Robo Trash 3000. No. Anyways, folks, welcome to this week's edition. Elio, what were you doing? What kind of weird intro was that?
I don't know.
You even introduced yourself first. You even introduced.
The controls.
I could tell it was you, Elio. You introduced yourself first as the host.
Okay.
My goodness. Anyway, folks, please excuse Elio. I'm not sure what's going through his head, but welcome. I'm your host, your other host, apparently, the legend T. James Logan. And with me is, I guess, my my boss, the gentleman Elio Canella.
What's
Elio,
going on?
well, I don't understand, man. You just had to tell me. You didn't have to do all that weird introduction and stuff. I would have been all on board, man. Okay, anyway, fans, you know, it's, wow. You know, we took a week off last week.
I know I'm talking like 2 weeks. Last week, the show was preempted.
That's what I meant. We were on vacation last week.
They had Global Plus. What was that?
I found these old tapes, and you know what? I always forget that your father and my father did a show a long time ago. But I got to tell you, your father had a weird sense of humor. That
It's like night and day with us.
I know. And I got to say, my father was pretty boring. Wizard, really? Can't get any sillier with your names? All right. Anyhow, folks, we, if you didn't get a chance, though, it was really fun. We found this great taped episode that had actually been played on some college radio stuff, I guess it was, back in 1984, featuring my father and Elio's father hosting a show called Global Plus, I think it was called. Global Plus, and they went over all the crazy news that happened, and I guess this has been roughly April of 1984, and it was interesting. They had a lot of different takes on some stuff, but boy, wrestling sure was fun then. Listening to that show, I had a good time, and I got to tell you, Elio, you're pretty laid back compared to your father. The deviant, that guy is pretty crazy. He's pretty out there. No wonder you went straight-laced growing up with a dad like that. What was that like?
You got some attitude, jeez.
That's all he was straight attitude. My goodness. And apparently really bad eyesight because he couldn't see a lot of things that were happening. His cable was constantly going off. Something was in his eye. I don't know how to explain all that.
Well, I mean, technology back then, right? So.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to take it as such. So, folks, if you get a chance, go back and check out our special edition of Global Plus, the show that me and Elio's fathers have done. And it's an interesting, fun little take. But we're back. We're back, and you know what? We missed a bit of wrestling. We missed an episode of AEW's Dynamite, which had been moved because of playoff games and played on a Saturday night, which is a very odd night. Mm-hmm. Tonight's we are recording right after a Thursday edition of Dynamite. So once again, Dynamite not back on track a day later, but you know what? We've decided to record right after it. And we'll get right into that. What I'd like to point out, first of all, before we get into any other of our regular stuff, of what we did miss, you know, some of the news coming out of last week's AEW's Dynamite. We had, of course, FTR finally talking about their manager. They have a manager. It is Tully Blanchard. I want to point out that I picked so far 3 of the, I think, what are going to be the 4 horsemen, because I said it would be Sean Spears, FTR, and I am still holding out hope that somehow Kenny Omega
hold on. That one poll we put up weeks back asked who would join Cody in 4 Horsemen, though.
Yeah, but I said it was never going to be Cody.
Oh, you mean, okay.
I said never going to be Cody.
Oh, okay.
I do not see
Cody. Oh, I remember, yes. I do remember that one comment you posted, yes.
Yeah. So all of my American fans who went out and followed that, I want to say tough luck, sheeple. I got to say that word. Canadians love saying sheeple. You Americans make me laugh, sheeple. Anyhow, let's also, there was other big news coming out of there. Brody Lee capturing the Dynamite TV title and injuring Cody Rhodes. Apparently, Cody is still out. He did not appear on this week's edition of Dynamite. Nobody knows exactly where he is, but apparently he has been hurt. So we'll find out. We'll try and follow that and see how serious that is, or if that's just some, storyline crap. We don't know. We'll find out. But Brody Lee taking that match in, I got to say, a very quick time and a very big beatdown of Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes took an ass kicking that day, Elio. He did not look like the champion. And
Nope.
I guess the reign of the Dark Order is now upon us.
I mean, Brody Lee blasted him with that clothesline. Holy jeez.
Yeah, it was pretty harsh. It was pretty harsh. And well, you know what? Let's go on to our hot topic of the week. We're actually going to have two hot topics. One of them we did a poll with. Our other hot topic we're going to talk about. We didn't make a poll about just regarding the PWI. Pro Wrestling Illustrated just put out their top 500. We're going to look at some of the top maybe 5 guys on there and discuss what we think of the top 5.
I have a question. When does the PWI 500 usually come out?
I believe it's out in a month or two. So
okay.
it's going to be out quite. Yeah, you know what? To be honest, these things happen. It seems like every 12 months there's another one of these yearly things.
Because I mean, I always knew PWI 500 to be towards the end of the year.
Yeah, but you know what? One thing we've learned about looking at magazines is at least a 4-month window between things. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I just know that we were handed a list, told this is the top 500 is coming up. We were handed the list of the top 20, but we're going to discuss some of them today, okay? And our other topic, it's one we put up for you fans out on our poll. It was about the Dark Order. I mean, with Brody Lee capturing the Dynamite belt, with the team of Grayson and Uno getting some title shots, looking really good the last while. The question was, has Dark Order legitimized itself? Are they a legitimate team, or are they still a joke? Because they have not been presented very well up until the last while. We've continuously looked at them like jokes. Has things changed? I'm going to throw it over to Elio first and ask Elio your opinion on this. Do you think at this moment, the things that have gone on, has it made a difference? Is the Dark Order still jokes, or have they been legitimized by the things that have happened lately?
When we were first introduced as Dark Order group, I didn't really like them. I didn't like anything about them. They still look like a big joke and a team of jobbers. And however, recently they've put a big focus on this group. So I'd say they have legitimized themselves, and now with Brody Lee in there and winning the TNT Championship, I'd say yes.
Excellent. You know what? We talked about this, me and you. We were very surprised when Grayson and Uno. It's important to note that during most of this COVID time, we did not see Grayson and Uno team up very much. Okay, we didn't. I barely saw them. We did see other members of the Dark Order. We did see them get continually beaten quite a bit. We saw Brody Lee come out, do a whole bunch of ridiculous skits, definitely stuff shot at about the, kind of making fun of WWE. We've seen him lose a few key matches and not really seem to be the dominant force to move the needle, because it seemed like the Dark Order were really going nowhere. As a matter of fact, I remember a couple weeks ago, me and you talking off air, and you asking me if I thought that the Dark Order was going to be pretty much done. Was Brody Lee did he make a difference? And at the time, I honestly thought that when it came to the Dark Order itself, Brody Lee didn't make a difference at all. And I was really of the belief that, and I told you that I believed that eventually they would just have Brody Lee leave the group and have to repackage him somehow. But surprise, surprise, as tag teams have been coming back, as Uno and Grayson have been able to make regular appearances, something lit a fire under these guys, because man, the tag team matches we've seen coming from Grayson and Uno have been spectacular. They really showed me a lot of stuff in the last week, and Brody Lee looking pretty good, including, let's face it, any way you look at it, he took out Cody Rhodes pretty decisively. There was no he fluked or got a a suspected, a suspicious win. He laid out Cody pretty good. Cody was pretty hurt. Cody's gone for a while. Apparently he is injured. So I'm going to have to say, man, I think finally the Dark Order is starting to be legitimized. I think people are starting to look at them more than just some kind of joke that's there filling the card. And I think me and you have discussed it too, that we finally see the Dark Order as a credible stable. So I'm going to go with, I think what's happened last while has legitimized him. What do the fans say? Did we get a number on the polls, a percentage number?
We don't have a percentage number. We do have a couple of comments on this poll. And
while you're doing that, I'll call up the percentage number. Okay, go ahead. Read out those, please.
Okay, so Bobby Guthrie said no.
Okay, Bobby, pretty harsh words.
And then he replied. He added another comment to his original post. This is just repairing the damages of poor booking and execution.
Okay, so what he's saying is, well, all the things have been good for the Dark Order, that they dug such a hole looking crappy that even all this stuff is only just sort of making them come across. So maybe not so much legitimizing them, but maybe taking some of the stink off them. Okay, I could see that. But I'm looking over the numbers right now, and it's the numbers in front of me say that 67.3% say that this legitimizes the Dark Order. 67.3%. That's an interesting number for me. So, fans are maybe getting a little bit behind the Dark Order, and maybe I'll stop calling them the Dark Order because they were stinking up the joint for a while. But I guess victories, belts, and good showings can wipe away the stink that sometimes gets thrown on you in professional wrestling. All right, now let's go into our next hot topic. This is a hot topic that I'm going to encourage fans if they want to. We're not going to really post anything about this, but if you want to weigh in on our page. By the way, if folks do want to weigh in, Elio, where would people write in if they wanted to drop comments, ask questions, or even contribute to the hot topics?
So they would write in on Facebook at Wrestling POV Podcast, Instagram Wrestling POV1, and Twitter at Wrestling POV.
Excellent. All right, now what we're going to look at today is Pro Wrestling Illustrated put out their top 500. It's be coming out right away. The full issue will be coming out soon. What we do have an advanced copy of is the top 20. I'm actually going to break it down. Let's go right now let's take a look at the top 10, okay? And I'm going to go backwards on some of this, and basically I want us, each of us, me and you, when I say out the number of the person, if you think that the person is top 10 worthy of this list, I want you to say yes or no, Elio. If no, I would like you to tell me why you think they're not, and I will do the same, okay?
Okay.
All right, number 10, AJ Styles.
Yes.
Yes, I'm going to have to agree. I think AJ Styles had a tremendous year. He's a tremendously talented guy. I think he easily can fit up here in the top 10. Number 9, Kofi Kingston. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say no. I'm gonna on that one. I'd put him further down.
I'd put him way further down. I feel that he was given a very short title run, and then they've pretty much abandoned him after this. I mean, sure, he's out with an injury now, but up until then, after losing his belt, he was never really considered a threat to ever regaining it. Seemed like it was a surprise win in the beginning, and they didn't really portray him as a strong champion whatsoever. So I'm going to have to say I don't think he belongs on this top 10 list. All right, say it. Say his name. Number 8. Say it like Rick would love to hear you say it.
Seth Rollins.
That's right. Number 8, Seth Rollins.
With his hi, Dad. Hi, Dad. That's me, Rick.
Seth Rollins. Anyways, Seth Rollins. I could see him in the top 10, I guess. In my opinion, he's kept himself on the forefront in Raw. He is still a credible challenger.
I'd say some weeks his promos are not so good. Some weeks they're pretty good.
Okay. Would you think though in the last year, would you consider him to be part of this top 10?
I'd still put him in the top 10. Yeah.
All right. Next we have number 7, Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, I'm going to have to say he put on a tremendous winning streak as the Dynamite champion. He held the almost weekly, was defending that title. I'm not sure if I put him in the top 10. I mean, I can see him be representing AEW because he is one of the bigger faces of AEW. And I don't mean as in good guy face. I mean, he's just one of the faces you see on television a lot. Boy, I'm really tossed on this one. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm going to say 50% yes, 50% no. I'm undecided if he belongs on this top 10. Okay. What do you think?
I'm going to say he's been consistent with open challenges and stuff, and now he's with being out of action after losing his championship. I'd put him a little lower than the top 10.
Sounds fair to me. Looking at number 6, Kazuchika Okada. I am going to say no in the top 10 this year, only for the fact as well, Okada, his reputation, I think, is what's got him in here. He has not had a strong year this year. And if anything, he's gone through some tremendous losing streaks. He's not been the dominant force in New Japan right now. He's definitely not the focus of it. So I'm going to say I do not think he belongs in the top 10 this year. Maybe the top 20, but definitely not the top 10. What do you think?
I'm gonna say no to this one as well.
Okay. At number 5, Tetsuya Naito. Now Naito, I'm going to say I don't believe he belongs as high as number 5, but I do see him in the top 10. I think as a champion this year, he was a bit lackluster in some of his he definitely didn't set people on fire as much as the run-up to him winning the title did. Everyone was very excited him chasing the belt, but winning the belt, he has not seemed that exciting of a champion when he did hold it. He's already lost that title to Evil.
I'd switch him around with AJ Styles or Seth Rollins.
All right, at number 4, Drew McIntyre, the current Universal Champion. I think he's had a pretty good year. I think he deserves to be here. His belt alone, Universal title, should put you at least in the top 5. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with number 4.
And I guess you could say he got his WrestleMania moments at SummerSlam.
Yes, still not in front of crowds, but at least a little bit bigger than what WrestleMania was.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I'm going to ask you, number 3, Chris Jericho.
This guy, I'm going to say yes because Chris Jericho is always entertaining. Yeah, sometimes he can get annoying, but he always seems to reinvent himself. However, this latest creation he's come up with, I don't know.
I'm going to say no, he doesn't belong in the top 10. I think maybe rated 11 would have been good. I think he's a tremendous, he's brought a lot of eyes on the product. He definitely is hilarious on commentary, as we saw tonight. I mean, you heard a lot of funny stuff. I just don't think that, I'm not putting him in the top 10. I would put him maybe 11. All right, number 2, Adam Cole, baby.
I'm okay with this. I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with this.
I'm okay with this. Yeah.
Adam Cole is definitely showing he's a force to reckon with. I gotta say though, to be honest, in my opinion, I would rate the Universal Championship higher than the NXT Championship. All right, and number 1. Now, Rick and Tony over at WPOV Wrestling at our sister show, they weren't too impressed with this pick. They both thought Adam Cole, but I'm sorry. I think Jon Moxley had a solid year as a champion. He is undefeated. I mean, as of tonight, his record was 18-0. He's been dominant across AEW. He's looked strong. He hasn't been booked to look stupid. He's had some brutal matches. He's had some great, tremendous, fun matches.
His promos
may not be the greatest. Sometimes he'll have a good one.
A lot
of times they seem rambling.
It's like once in a while his promos might not be as great as other times.
Yes, but I'm gonna have to say I would still rate him higher than everybody else the last year. So I'm sorry, Jon Moxley definitely deserves to be number 1 on this list. Fans, I'm interested in what you people think. If you're interested to throw together your top 5 picks for who you thought should have been listed for last year for the PWI's top 500 list, I'm curious. Would you put Mox? Do you think Chris Jericho deserves to be in there? Does Adam Cole deserve to be above Drew McIntyre? I'm very curious what you fans have to say.
Actually, my friend would probably put Taz at the top.
Oh, my Lord, Taz. I think you're taller than Taz. Anyhow, fans, definitely write in, and I'm curious. I'll read your results. I'll read your names and results, and we'll see what other people are thinking. So let's move on now to this week's Impact. All right? We watched Impact. We didn't talk about last week's Impact. It wasn't really that important. Let's talk about this week's Impact.
I actually watched it earlier tonight.
All right. First of all, they opened up with Eddie Edwards. Who did he face here? Why can't I think of it right
faced, let's see, RVD.
I think I saw this.
Rob Van Dam.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, for me, this was a bit of an unusual match in the sense that you usually don't see RVD taking a definitive loss like this. You know, Eddie didn't resort to like funny tactics, interference, reversals, nothing. He beat RVD pretty clean. I'm not sure what it is, but sometimes Eddie Edwards matches lately feel a little flat to me.
Yeah, they all feel the same to me every time I see them. Yeah,
it doesn't matter who, you know, and it was nice to see RVD getting a chance, but let's face it, you're right, it didn't feel the greatest. It just, he doesn't have that feel. His matches feel like, you know, when you go and watch WWE matches and the champion isn't even the main event. It's that sort of deal, you know. He's just sort of there, but he's not. I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna say I wasn't the biggest fan of this. The match was okay. I was very surprised at RVD's loss, or not his loss, but just sort of the way he lost.
Is it just me, or is there a lot of vignettes on this show?
There was a lot of what?
Vignettes or interviews.
Yeah, there was lots of that stuff. I don't want to really go over them all. Was there any that you wanted to talk about? Was something?
No, I don't know, because I'm just looking at my notes. I have like a whole bunch of vignettes all this one after another. I'm like, I can't believe there are all these vignettes.
Well, there was really not much wrestling.
Yeah.
For this whole program, what is there? 2 matches and something that wrestled.
I think there was like 3 or something. I counted 3. I don't know.
Okay, what's the other match you have listed?
Brian Myers defeating Willie Mack, and then we had.
There we go. Brian Myers, Willie Mack. That was such a forgettable match that I didn't even remember until you said it. Not sure think about Brian Myers, the former. What did he call himself in WWE?
Kurt Hawkins.
Curtis Hawkins. And as a Canadian, all I think of is, does he work for the Hawkins Cheesy Company? Because he's pretty freaking cheesy. But
I did like that main event though.
Well, we're getting there.
Yep.
Don't jump the shark yet.
Okay.
I don't want to sound like a meanie, but I love Willie Mack. But this was a very forgettable match.
Yeah.
Nothing really sticks out in my mind. And speaking about things I wish I could forget, I can't take this Wrestle House crap. I cannot take it. If it wasn't for Kylie Ray, I would put this all on fast forward.
Oh, jeez.
It's hot garbage. It's just
okay. You know, I'm sorry. A couple of weeks back, I said how I like Rosemary, but no, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to take that back because this whole Wrestle House crap is just, and everyone is just.
Yeah, they've made the few people who are interesting. I get the idea. The idea was like, okay, Rosemary. Up until you oversaturated her storyline here, she was starting to seem interesting, somebody you could maybe get behind a little, understand a little, even that crazy Steve guy. But they've just done too much idiotic garbage in this thing that now you're just sick of these people. I'm literally sick. I mean, I hated Taya Valkyrie going in. I hate her even more now. I'd stab her in the eye with a fork if I could.
Apparently next week we're going to get her and Rosemary with a winner takes all.
With a who gives a shit belt is what they should call it, because none of us do. It's this wrestle. I don't know. I'm really hoping this stuff ends because I'm tired of it.
I'd love to know like whose idea this was though, because it's really bad.
Well, we talked about this before. In the beginning, it had a potential to be interesting, but it's cartoon hammy crap writing, and wrestlers aren't good actors to begin with. So trying to get them to read this, which to their acting ability, freaking Shakespeare, is ridiculous. It's not going to work. It was never going to work.
Yep.
And I'm sick of it. You're sick of it. I'm sick of it. Let's let's move on. Just like we're going to move on from this thing. All I can say last thing I want to say about Wrestle House this week is just end this, please.
Yep.
Mercifully end this. Find something else. I'd rather have vignettes of people threatening each other, like 20 of them in this crap. All right, moving on though. Let's talk about that main event because that was a very good main event.
Yeah, it was.
Deonna Purrazzo putting up her Impact Women's Knockouts title against former champion Jordynne Grace in a 2 out of 3 falls match. This was a 30-minute. Not 2 out of 3. Was it an Iron Man?
No, it was an Iron Man.
Yeah, it was a 30-woman Iron Man match. Sorry.
30-minute
It's because
Iron
it went to
Man,
3.
yeah.
It's because it went to 3 things that threw me off there for a sec. Yeah. Interesting. Really well done. Definitely old school wrestling, power versus finesse versus skill versus just a really good stuff. And it surprised me. You had Jordynne Grace taking the first fall, and you're thinking, okay, is there going to be a bunch of falls, or is this going to be a straight out, blowout? Deonna getting the tie and then winning in pretty short order after that second fall. I liked it. I really did. It really showcased both of these ladies. Going in, everyone knows that I was definitely a Jordynne Grace giant supporter. I'm going to have to say Deonna Purrazzo impressed me enough that, she won my respect. And she walked out with the belt, and I'm not sad about that. As much as I love Jordynne Grace, at least this isn't a terrible champion like Taya Valkyrie.
Yep.
Okay. So what did you think of that match, buddy?
No, I really like this match. And actually, when this match started, I was looking at my watch, and it was like 10 minutes until AEW.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had my iPad next to me, and I had it all set up on the TSN app. I had it open for when AEW started. When AEW had started, this match was still going on, and it was like close to the end. I'm like, okay, I got 2 shows going on here. I can only watch one.
Yikes! Trying to watch 2 shows. I have a hard enough time watching when it's picture in picture. I can't see how you could watch 2 different things. Okay. I'm going to say, though, this was we talked about this in the sense that we thought this was better than last week's episode. Mm-hmm. But I'm still going to say the Wrestle House stuff, the boringness of Eddie Edwards, the Willie Mack stuff, bringing it down. So it was only 30 minutes of good, solid wrestling. I'd give it a half-ass. It was, if I was going to grade this on a percentage-wise, I'd give it a 75%.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm gonna go with the 70.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you know what, fans? We're gonna take a quick break here. When we get back, we're going to talk about tonight's AEW Dynamite. Interesting show appearing. We just finished watching it live. We'll talk some stuff. So we'll see you back in a few minutes.
Hey, listen up. This is El Lobo, Andy Anderson, the Lone Wolf, and you are listening to Wrestling POV Global right now.
Hey, folks, welcome back. First of all, I want to talk about, before we get into the second part of the show, I want to mention about, as we regularly mention, the fact that we have some T-shirts for sale. That's right, fans. Now's your chance to get exclusive T-shirts from Wrestling POV, and we do have one for Wrestling POV Global. They're pretty cool. The global one is our gold logo with the words "The Gentleman" and "The Legend" on them, pointing to various anatomy pieces. So I'll let you guess that one. But there's also 3 designs that you can find on Wrestling POV. Help support us by buying these T-shirts. You know what? It doesn't cost. It does cost a little bit of money for us to put these shows together, to have them out there, and any money that you actually buy with these T-shirts goes to help supporting the cause here, helps us do the things we do. Now, currently, we have 3 programs, okay? There's this program, WPOV Global, which me and Elio host, where we cover basically everything that's non-WWE related, with the exception that we do cover UK. All right. Other than that, we try and look at Impact, AEW. We do a regular weekly AEW thing. When New Japan's going, we take a nice hard look at all the stuff going on there. So we try and keep up with all those kind of events. Then if you're more interested in just straight WWE stuff, take a look at Wrestling POV, hosted by Tony Diaz and Rick Serrano III. There, they take a look at all the goings on in Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, and they also take a little bit of look at their weekly look at AEW. So fun stuff. And you can find all of those programs on Podbean, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, and
TuneIn.
And TuneIn. That's the new one. Definitely check us out on TuneIn also. And we also have a special exclusive show that is exclusive to Facebook and YouTube, and that's WPOV Quarantine, hosted by me, alleged T. James Logan. We do have the gentleman who sometimes will talk, sometimes not, but running the old equipment. Each week we have a different topic, and each week I have guests, different wrestlers from around North America, pop in and weigh in on whatever the program's about. And we've had some fun stuff. We've covered all kinds of topics. I do know next week we have coming up, we'll be covering, I believe, mat wrestlers and grapplers, our next episode. After that, we're going to take a look at wrestling schools. And I was thinking of doing an episode all about the flashy wrestlers out there. All those wrestlers who may not have been the best wrestlers in the world, but they had the coolest costumes, the coolest look, and they made you follow them, that even though they weren't the most exciting guys. So let's take a look at this week's AEW Dynamite. Dynamite! First of all, I didn't know what to expect, okay? After WWE has their Thunderdome, I was wondering, would AEW kind of ramp up and do something? Well, they did a little bit more pyro, it seemed. And
I bet they had live fans back.
10%. They mentioned that 10% capacity and that masks were encouraged. So there were some fans in there. Now, we start off with this match. It's kind of an odd match. Now, here's the dealio. It involves the teams that are rated 1, 2, 3, and 4. So teams 3 and 4 faced each other, and this is sort of a gauntlet style. As soon as whatever team won that match, the number 2 team came out and fought them, and whoever won that match, the number 1 team fought them, and whoever won that match would get a title shot against Page and Omega at the next pay-per-view. Kind of a cool concept, but why in the hell wouldn't just the number 1 contenders get the shot?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. So we start off with the teams of the Young Bucks and the Natural Nightmares standing in the ring. Now, before this even gets started, Elio, they introduce Chris Jericho to the commentary, which in my books is always fun. He says some funny, outrageous stuff.
Jericho and his song were both trending.
Well, I got to say, when he came out, man, the fans just ate him up. Like, the people were singing his song. You know, it seemed like he got more excitement out of him walking from the entrance to his chair than the fans reacted to the whole matches that were coming out.
I think Chris Jericho listens to our quarantine show.
Why do you figure?
Because aside from Fozzy, he also has another side project with another group, and they call themselves Quarantine.
They call themselves Quarantine. Ripping off my show, damn you, Jericho. At least come on the damn show. I won't be mad if you come on and sit on a couple episodes with us. You can abuse Elio as much as you want.
What's going on?
I'll even take the abuse down a level so you can abuse him higher. I'm cool with that. Elio's cool with that. If he's not, I'll punch him till he is. All right. Now that's abusement. Now, so yeah, Jericho comes out. Fans are going apeshit crazy. People are singing along, having a great time. I'm gonna say this. I guess I do like his song, but I've never downloaded it. I've never listened to it outside of the context of wrestling. So I
have. You already know I'm the big music guy on the show.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Not for me. I wouldn't say not for me. I just never have downloaded it. It seems like an okay song. I mean, I just have enough music that I listen to that I don't need to be listening to wrestlers' music. So, oh well. So let's start off. Young Bucks against the Natural Nightmares. I find it extremely funny that Dustin Rhodes is so much bigger than the Young Bucks. I mean, that's almost cartoonish. You just see him towering over these little guys. He was hot tonight. I mean, he really seemed on. QT Marshall just, I don't know, man.
This guy doesn't do it for me. I don't know why. Just something about him.
He just seems a little bit slower than everybody, you know. I want to throw out that while it's still fresh in my head, I laughed when they had a move where the Young Bucks, both of them, gave a super kick and kicked QT Marshall in the legs, and Jericho referred to it as sweet shin music. that was funny.
Oh man!
And then when Dustin did a Canadian Destroyer on one of the Young Bucks, Tony yells out, "Canadian Destroyer!" And Jericho's like, "No, that's a Texas Destroyer. He's never been anywhere near Canada." Right? And they're like, no, he's been to Canada many times. He goes, no, he hasn't. They wouldn't let him cross the border. So give props to Jericho for that. I get a kick out of him because even when he screws up, he owns it and makes it funny. You know, like he'll just play on his screw up instead of some guys who will be awkward or whatever. He'll just be like, put it as part of his blustering character, and that works. Like I said, this was an okay match. The Bucks doing all kinds of Young Bucks crap, I guess.
Yep.
I don't know. They did, continuous things. In the end, they take the win. So out comes the number 2 team, the Best Friends, and they start their match. Man, let's see. What can I say about the Best Friends? It was an okay match. Chuck looked okay. There's something that happened in the beginning of the match, and it's those things where you see something, and then you wonder if that was real or if that was a thing. And it was right at the beginning. Chuck did something where he looked like he was going to pull the fake "I hurt my knee" crap. Did you catch that in the beginning? And then they missed it totally, like the Young Bucks and the ref missed it. So he just went on and started wrestling. And then the narrator, the commentators later on said, well, Chucky hurt his knee kind of. And I guess it played into the very end, but it just seemed very awkward that he did that thing with the knee and nobody seemed to notice or react to it. But at the end, he ends up tapping out after being put in a leg lock. So, good. I like the Best Friends. I don't know if they're necessarily championship material. I don't know if they're the guys you really want to put your belts on.
I'm sorry, did the Best Friends?
Oh wait, I went too far ahead here. Sorry, I skipped ahead.
Yeah.
The Best Friends take this because of the whole Adam Page thing.
Yeah, that was surprising when I saw him come out. Yeah. He like hung on. He was holding on to, I think, Nick or Matt's. Nick's leg. Yeah. Cost them the match. Yeah.
I'm sorry. After listening to Jim Cornette, I too when I see him, I call him Balding Buck. So when Balding Buck was being held and Road Warrior Buck was still in there. So sorry, I skipped over that, and I shouldn't have, because all right. So they get the win. The Best Friends get the win over the Young Bucks because Adam Page comes out and grabs Balding Buck. Which one is Balding? The blonde one. Nick's the balding one? Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah. Matt's the other one. Okay. Yeah. So he grabs him, and it's very awkward because he grabs him, costs them the win, and then he walks over about 10 feet and just kind of stands there looking like he's in shock, like he's not sure what he's done.
Yeah.
And they're standing there gaping at him. Meanwhile, the Best Friends are like, hey, we won. Holy crap.
And then he just walks off.
Yeah, and then he walks off into the audience and walks up where Mox usually comes out. And they have, so, okay, we'll get back to that. So the Young Bucks, they're kind of ticked. The Best Friends are left then to face FTR. Now we do have, the Best Friends. We have Chuck kind of, I guess, maybe getting his knee hurt. And eventually FTR takes advantage of that pretty quickly. This third match went rather fast. They put him into a leg lock, and he taps out. And thus, FTR will be the guys getting the title shot against Page and Omega. So, interesting. Not sure why. Did Omega and Page, was the idea here that Adam Page did not want to face the Young Bucks again?
Well, that was my first thought, that maybe he didn't want to face the Young Bucks again. But then I'm wondering if at All Out we see Page joining FTR.
Nope. Again, nope. Yeah, okay, we'll discuss that because it was very confusing. And it gets worse, fans, as you're going to tell when we get to the segment later on with them. It's even more confusing and worse. That's all I'm going to say. All right, we next come to Lance Archer having a squash match against Sean Maluta.
What's this guy in
Lance
WWE? I recognize that name.
Yeah, I believe he's like a relative of The Rock somehow. He's like a Samoan guy, I think. I think that's who the guy was.
Because I think I saw he was in NXT.
Yeah, and he was on that show. Do you remember they used to do that show with NXT wrestlers? Kind of a backstage ongoing thing, like they had Aaliyah in it, and do you remember
Breaking Ground?
Was that what it's called? Breaking Ground, maybe? I'm pretty sure that dude was featured in a few episodes of that.
Oh, okay.
That's where I remember him from. This was a good Lance Archer squash match, because sometimes it seems matches they give him, he was presented really well here. He looked like a monster. He didn't look too cartoony as sometimes he can do. He didn't look like a big goof who, gets distracted or taken down easy. He looked dangerous here, and I thought this was effective. Then they start bragging about how he's going to win the 21-man all-out battle royal. And I gotta admit, I was extremely surprised to see your best friend Taz.
I'm sure you're mistaken. We're not friends. What are you talking about?
Okay, well,
even Miguel Cole hates him.
True, I love Miguel. Have I told you how much I love Miguel? Anyways,
no, you stop.
Come on, don't be jealous of Miguel. You're still my favorite puppet, but Miguel's right up there.
The bromance continues.
So I was extremely surprised. I was very surprised that Brian Cage and Ricky Starks come out, because it was like, all of these guys are bad guys. There's no reason, you can't make either of them good guys. So are they there to join up? But they weren't. All of a sudden you got a lot of like, it kind of looked like that Brian Cage and maybe Lance Archer were like sizing each other up. And it took a hell of a long time, but Darby Allin skateboarding,
all right,
playing from the back down. It took a long time. It would have been a lot cooler if it hadn't been so long.
I like how Jericho took credit for inventing Darby Allin. Yeah, I created this guy.
Yeah. So he comes out, skates out, jumps in the ring, and knocks Ricky Starks out of his shoes, which was hilarious. He literally knocked him out of his shoes. So then they go off fighting, and unfortunately, we don't get anything between Cage and Archer. Just a lot of posturing and posing, and who knows, who's going to win that,
right?
Or who's going to go on. Then we had, let's see, next coming out, we had the team of, we had this whole MJF stuff starting out. I want to ask your opinion about this MJF. This MJF stuff is really kind of annoying me.
You know what? I don't get it. I don't get it with this guy yet. Like, I don't see it with the MJF. Like, the big deal.
I don't either. Like, he's not anywhere scary or... like, he doesn't seem like to me like to be a real threat to Jon Moxley.
Oh.
Like maybe Wardlow helps him, but other than that, he doesn't seem like he has much to stand on. So he comes out and he's all like bandaged up, and he's in a like a wheelchair, and he's got a neck brace on.
Apparently he uses a walker now. What?
Yeah. So he's all mad because Jon Moxley jumped him from behind and beat him up. So now I'm gonna say I didn't expect the end of this thing, which is nice. Made me laugh a little bit, because we've seen this junk before where a wrestler tries to have another wrestler's move banned, which I don't get, I mean, seriously.
My dad tried to have the Full Nelson banned.
Yeah, your dad. What was that all about? I did look into that, and he didn't. Those 5,000 signatures he was bragging about were his own. And so, yeah, your dad probably won't talk about that, but apparently he almost got fired from the show for pulling stuff like that. But anyhow, I don't get that. Mox made a good point, okay? Mox is looking at this thing, and part of the contract is they faxed it. And this is funny because I didn't really catch it, because they kept saying how they had faxed Mox the contract earlier this afternoon.
Right.
And he's up there ready to sign it. So, okay, So he's getting ready to sign it, and they're insisting that what do they call it now? I was going to say the dirty deeds. It's not called the
paradigm
dirty
shift.
The paradigm shift used to be the dirty deeds DDT in WWE. So basically, this is just a hook arm DDT. I mean, it's not really that dangerous of a move to begin with. But anyways, so MJF is basically trying to have it banned. And he was saying, he's like trying to throw out all these insults to Mox about how he can out wrestle Moxley and Moxley has no chance. And that does Moxley have the guts to face him without using that move? I'm going to throw one funny prop out there was when MJF was making fun of Moxley's hair balding. And Moxley came back with, "Oh, don't worry, it'll happen to you someday. Oh, but first you're going to have to go through puberty." That was a good comeback. So he agrees. He says, fine. And he makes a very good point here. When he says, okay, you're still worried about the paradigm shift, but you realize now if you take that away, now I'm going to think of all the other ways I can hurt you. Now I'm going to concentrate on all the different ways I can break your arms, legs, and that's true. So I thought it was extremely dumb that you would try and just ban his move, because it's not like his only move.
No, but he also did that modified skull crusher finale thing that the Miz does.
Yeah. So it just seems ridiculous that you're trying to get him to ban the move. Then this obnoxious, I don't know who that lawyer was, but he was obnoxious.
Apparently next week, Moxley's going to have him.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Go on.
So Moxley signs the contract finally. They're jumping up and down, laughing and hooting and saying how figuring they got one over on Moxley. And they're like,
a 16-page contract.
A 16-page contract. And Moxley turns around by saying, well, you know what? I'm so glad you guys, after you signed, they had signed it already, saying, I'm so glad you guys didn't have a problem with what I added on page 17. And they're like, what? 17? There was only 16 pages. So they read it. And this is just kind of dumb, but the contract basically that they'd signed said that there would be a pre-match next week featuring Moxley against the lawyer. So I don't get that. That is just dumb as hell. I don't know why he wants to get in there and fight the lawyer. It seemed like there was much funnier or weirder things he could have done, but let's give him the ingenuity that he pulled one over on them, which was funny. Okay. So yeah, that was okay. I'm not really sure how much I'm really looking for it, because here's the problem. I don't think MJF is ready to be a main event guy for a company.
No.
And I don't think he's going to put on a credible match with Jon Moxley where, unless he cheats to win, totally, uses Wardlow and does all this stuff, I don't see him as being a guy that you're going to see as an upper echelon wrestler. I just don't see it. So, unfortunately, I think they run the risk of this match of exposing MJF to be a great talker and not much else. And so that's my concern here. Okay. We'll see where it goes. I'm not sure. I really don't think that MJF really does have it in him to be the guy to beat Moxley. It just doesn't seem like it. Next, we had a match was kind of a weird match. I thought it was a weird match anyways. Is we got Butcher, Blade, and the Lucha Brothers with their manager, I guess he is, Eddie Kingston.
Yep.
Taking on the team of Griff Garrison, Joey Janela, Sonny Kiss, and Brian Pillman Jr.
Who is this Griff Garrison? We've seen him a few times already.
He's just a guy on Dark a lot. He's just a younger guy they're trying to develop into the system. I loved what's his name throwing out Von Erich references, and I do believe Jericho referenced an old WCW guy, Steve Simpson, which the guy kind of looks way more like Steve Simpson than he does I
remember the name Steve Simpson. Yep.
Yeah, he was just he looked exactly like that dude, to be honest. So that was kind of interesting. Match gets on, and I'm gonna say this match fell really short for me in execution. What did you think of it, Elio?
I like the Butch and the Blade, like the Lucha Brothers, but this match was really weird for me. And the weird pairing. I mean, the weird combination of Griff Garrison, Brian Pillman Jr., Sonny Kiss. It was just Joey Janela just not apparent. Like Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss, I get because
Yeah.
we've seen them team.
But yeah,
Like
what about
the addition
Pillman
of Pillman Jr. and Garrison.
Yeah.
It
And I
was-
was, sorry?
No, it was just a really odd team.
Odd pairing to see, yeah.
Yep.
I got to say, too, I was very surprised that Brian Pillman Jr. ate the pin. You know? I would have thought it would make more sense to have, what is his name? Garrison take the pin. Because he's sort of the most unknown guy there. And it doesn't hurt them. Kind of hurts Pillman a bit because now people are like, oh, well, maybe Pillman Jr. isn't all that great. Didn't think it was that good. Then, okay, we talked about the New Order earlier. Now they have this sort of celebration of Brody Lee. And got to tell you, man, this was the crappiest celebration I've ever seen. I'm not sure what the point of it was. That Brody, you know, you had one of the Dark Order guys telling Brody Lee how much he liked him.
Oh, wait, who was that? Was that Preston Vance guy that whatever?
No, that was that John Silver.
Oh, that was Silver. Okay.
Yeah, that was John Silver.
Oh man.
And talk about making a guy look bad. I mean, not only does Brody Lee kick him, knock him down, slap him around, then he tells his partner, "Go get that little shrimpy guy in line." Like he just, runt. I think he called him a runt. Maybe that was the word. But he, I'm sure the guy struggles in the wrestling world that he's shorter. But then being pointed out on national television how you're a runt. So like I said, I didn't really get much out of this. Thought it was kind of dumb. Didn't see the point of it because there really wasn't a point to any of this. I mean, the nightmare.
You know all these. Whenever someone wins a title or whatever, anytime they have their own celebration, it's just
but
there.
Usually there's that's usually a good way to segue into their next challenges.
But this one didn't really do anything because who's gonna challenge him now? Who's gonna? Well, apparently I heard one name, but
who did you hear?
I heard JTG, but I don't see him beating Brody Lee.
Yeah. And then, you know what? They ended the segment with, the Nightmares coming out and getting beat up. So, it just seemed like a really ridiculous waste of time, this. It didn't further anybody. Didn't make anyone look good. And it didn't make Brody Lee look good either. It made him look kind of like a jerk who just bullies around his lackeys. So.
And I think they came back up because... later on, because I think Evil Uno was recruiting Tenera Conti.
Yep, that came out later. I think was that just before the main event? I think that might have been just before the main event. So. They just came to the side and Elio of course jumped the horse here and explained this one, but they did come out later on and offer Taya.
Yeah, but come on, Anna Jay looks good.
Yeah, Anna Jay they actually both look good. They're both attractive women. I just don't know how they fit into the New Order, looking like two blonde. Yeah, it's just you guys are gonna have to sell me on this one, AEW, because as it stands now, they're beautiful blonde girls that just do not fit in with the Dark Order. I'm not sure where you're gonna go with that. Then this one, okay, I want to talk about this one because this one was very odd to me, and I did not see the point of this segment. Okay, is you have Adam Page sitting at this kind of because what those are is they have these lounges within the thing where people can go drink within the stadiums they're at. So he's at one of the stadiums, which is hilarious since it's all closed off, but he's there and it's open and he's having a drink. The Young Bucks come in and they come up and start giving him hell. They're saying, you know what? We said you were a jobber. We said you didn't fit in, but we only said those things to spur you on, to get you to rise to better occasions. And we've always thought of you as a friend, but now you've proven that you're no friend of ours and that you don't care about us and that we were idiots to keep trying to keep the elite alive with you in it because we thought you deserved to be there, but you don't. And basically you can go to hell and you're no longer our friends and we're taking our toys and we're going home. So new poo on you sort of thing. They both sob off. Meanwhile, through all of this, the most confusing thing is Adam Page standing there like he doesn't know why he did it, or he's ashamed he's did it, or it just didn't come up. Like it made more sense if he was mad and there was a reason he did it. And he was like, "Screw you, Young Bucks," but he actually looked like he was brokenhearted to be kicked out of the elite. And I forgot they threw his drink in his face and called him an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And so I'm very I just didn't get what they were going for here.
Well, I don't know where they're going with this.
Yeah, because are you supposed to be sympathetic towards Paige, who just did this horrible thing to his so-called friends? Or are you supposed to be sympathetic to the Young Bucks, who they got screwed over, but they're also acting like total jerk-offs who kind of deserve what they get? So some people may say that's layered storytelling. I just don't think it's very good. I think it's confusing, and I think when you're confusing us as who we should be cheering for here, I think you'd have done not a very good service. Okay, so I gotta say that just came off as weird. Then we get to the women's handicap match. Penelope Ford, Britt Baker, and Rebel taking on Big Swole. With basically Britt Baker sitting in a wheelchair wearing the goofiest looking thing over her face to protect her nose.
Yeah, all like Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, and man, is Rebel really that bad of a wrestler, or is she pretending to be? Because she is useless as shit in there. She did nothing.
I mean, I don't know. We saw she was in Impact Wrestling, but I don't remember her being
been that
this
long
bad.
that she can't remember how to wrestle. Like, seriously, dude, she made Penelope Ford look like Lou Thez, okay? And Penelope Ford is the drizzling shits. So how bad is she? You know what I mean?
Because I mean, when the first match I started, I'm like, and like it looks like she was trying to remember how to wrestle. I'm like, wait, come on, you can't be this bad.
Yeah.
You were in Impact Wrestling.
I mean, she was getting free makeup for a year. Anyways,
I guess Penelope Ford kept saying you don't get free dental work.
Yeah, I don't know if Rich should give him to that, but then this was the most awkward. You knew the spot was coming with the crutch where she was going to hit. They were going to hit Swole in the face. You've got Penelope Ford holding Swole's arms. You've got Rebel coming in with the crutch, and they do the switcheroo where she shows the crutch as if she's going to hit the ref. The ref grabs the crutch, turns around to throw it out. As she turns around, Britt throws her the second crutch, and then she's supposed to whack Swole in the face with the crutch and go for the win. And it was just so awkward how you could see a mile away that she was going to miss and hit her partner. And she did. And so Swole, scoops up Rebel for the win, and now she gets her shot at Britt Baker coming up. And I got to tell you, this was a pretty bad match.
Yeah, this was bad.
This was pretty bad.
Yep.
And I was not happy about it. I think somewhere along the lines, I missed mentioning how they had a really good package showing of Thunder Rosa.
Yep.
Coming in to fight Hikaru Shida, and I got to tell you, that was a very good package. And both women were presented really strong, even up to the moment where they signed contracts and do their last post thing before their upcoming match. I'm excited. Shida has been wrestling like crazy, and Thunder Rosa, I've known her from other things, and right now she's also on a very good heel. Yeah, so I'm very excited to see this. I'm very excited to see this match, and I'm not sure who I cheer for. Because that's probably going to be Shida because I love Shida. But this Thunder Rosa is a very good wrestler. So very excited to see that. Then let's get now to the main event. All right. And I don't know, man. The main event here tonight is, and it started with 9 minutes left in the program. Okay. 9 minutes left, and we're going to have a tables match between Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy. First one, and I noticed how they said this, the first one to offensively put someone through a table. So meaning there was no, that wording tells you there couldn't be accidental, like we've seen. Remember the one where Cena fell off the thing and the guy moved the table just so he'd fall in it? And, I guess they were trying to eliminate that. You had to go through a table. For a ladder or for a table match, this was pretty boring.
Is he going back to his stupid broken gimmick or whatever?
Who knows? Because
He's saying
he's not.
he brought up that table and said delete on
Deleted
it.
on, yeah. But also, he's dressed like he was back in the back when he was post Brood, when he was with his brother, and they were the hot tag team. And then I don't know, all very confusing. Not the greatest match. I would have expected a better match. I wanted a better match for the main event. Did not get it. Guevara takes the win. Hardy looking not like much in here. I'm sorry, it didn't present him in the best of lights. So I'm going to say this was a failure of a bit of a main event. In the end, I think this was a lot better than last Saturday, which was terrible.
Yep.
But it wasn't up to the snuff of some of the ones we've had in the past. I think I'm going to give this a B-.
Okay, I'm going to go with the C on this one.
C? Well, that'll be interesting. I know we're both going to have to catch up on our NXT this week to see if our vote goes into which way it'll go.
Well, apparently, we have new tag team champions, so looking at the results. But I'm going to sit down and watch that later, either tonight or tomorrow.
Okay. Well, you know what, fans? AEW still chugging along. They had a terrible terrible card last week. We even threw in our votes, even though you didn't hear it on here. We registered our votes with WPOV, and that week had NXT taking it. I think three of the four of us voted NXT.
Only three voted NXT, one voted AEW.
Yeah, and surprisingly, it was Tony Diaz who voted AEW. So, but it wasn't a runaway for him either. He just felt it was slightly better. So, well, that'll wrap us up for this week's AEW Dynamite. Fun show, fun things to look at. I got to tell you, fans, keep up with the AEW. It's still delivering alternative wrestling. At least it's more, I'm saying don't even bother with this whole wars bullshit. Just watch it all. It's wrestling. I remember being a kid where you just desperately look for wrestling. Well, there's lots of wrestling available now. And sure, sometimes there's crap, but hey, you're not stupid. You can figure out what's crap and skip it. We all have PVRs.
And then after a while, it gets tired of this whole Wednesday Night Wars. It gets old, and just watch it all.
You know what, fans? We're going to let you go for the week. I want to thank everybody for tuning in this week and showing your love and support. We just want to say we're still in this whole trying times. Things are a little scary. There's still the old COVID running around. There's still a bit of fear of what can happen to us next, but you know what? Solace in it. We're all part of a fraternity of wrestling fans. You're a special group. If you're listening to this show, you belong to a special group of people who like to listen and watch and be a part of the pro wrestling world. And take the solace in that we may be wearing masks, stuck at home, and not see each other a lot, but just take solace that there's a whole bunch of people just like you with the same interest who love the same stuff. We're all brothers together in this. All right. And we just want to say tonight, thank you to all our fans across the world, wherever you're downloading the show. And this week, I want to send a special shout out to our friends in Australia and New Zealand. All you people in the bottom part of the world, still big wrestling fans. I was down there a couple of years ago. Great people. We love you all. And just keep watching wrestling, guys. All right. Elio, it's a pleasure as always seeing you. And I look forward to talking to you next week. We're going to get together for some quarantine and some more global.
Yep.
And just like I said, just want to thank you. And Elio, I think you probably should say goodnight to the good people.
Fans, we will talk to you all next week.
All right.